Well, we're here to help people in anywhere in our state, or actually anyone outside of our state who has any questions regarding policies about Great Lakes. We can point you to the resources, we can point you to the answer people, and we can help you deal with the concerns and questions that you have. Well, right now we spend probably 90% of our time, not maybe 90, 80% of our time dealing with Asian carp issues. Everybody wants to know about the Asian carp. So sometimes I get a little tired of it, frankly, because there are a lot of other things to do too, but that's probably the issue that concerns and consumes us. The Great Lakes Restoration Initiative is Congress's and the federal government's promise to the Great Lakes, and it was actually made by former President George Bush. You know, they spent several years restoring the Everglades, and they spent several years restoring Chesapeake Bay. And the commitment at the time was, we will get those done, and then we will make a 5-year commitment to the Great Lakes. The promise was $475 million a year for 5 years. We got 475 the first year. Last year we got 350, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit less this year. So I've told my colleagues on Capitol Hill that that's okay, we understand, it's a difficult time, but then instead of 5 years, we ought to go for 7 or 8, so they make up the entire amount over the time period. Diversion is going to be a huge issue going forward. Right now our first request is the Waukesha request, but I think there will be others. And our fear, obviously, which I think led us to the compact, is that as water gets more and more scarce, water's been called the gold of this century, and I think that's very true. And as it gets more and more scarce, I think some of our western states are going to want our water. I think they're going to want pipelines. And as water gets less available, more expensive, they're going to find ways to do it that now seem like a very high cost, but eventually will probably not cost that much to pipeline to Lake Michigan. Well, the Great Lake Compact prevents diversions unless there's a real need by someone else, by another Great Lake state or the provinces. But then it has to meet a very high standard in order to allow for that diversion. And it does allow for emergency diversions. Should there be a worldwide famine, a worldwide catastrophe of some sort, and other countries would need our water, it does allow for that, but the Great Lakes governors have that final decision-making power. So it only allows for diversions, and that would be 100 million gallons or over, to outside of our state, to other states, if they meet all the requirements. It only allows for diversions outside of our state, outside of our basin, if there is some kind of a worldwide catastrophe.
This Greening of the Great Lakes vodcast is produced by Michigan State University and News Talk 760 WJR for MLive.com.